Hey there, this is Heather with Seize the Day Cruising, and I'm really excited to talk to you about our amazing Hawaii cruise. Talk about was it worth it, what kind of excursions we did, and how it all worked out with a family of 4 in one cabin. So first of all, since the last video that I had did, there was a fire that took place in Lahaina. So because of that, they changed our cruise. Instead of going to Maui, we actually spent 2 days in Honolulu. So we had an overnight stay in Honolulu. So that kind of changed the excursions and the things that we had planned to do. But overall, the cruise was really awesome. We got onto the ship pretty quickly, which was really great. We got into our room and it was a little snug, but we quickly learned that there were so many activities for our boys to do that we hardly even saw them most of the time. So one of my sons was 10 and the other one was 13, and they each had their own rooms to hang out in. And the teen room was actually open until 1 o'clock every night. And the other room for my younger son was open until 10. So we were able to go most evenings and kind of do all the things that we wanted to do. We did have dinner in the main dining room every night before we took the kids to their kid area. Lunch was usually just kind of the buffet. And there was a lot of really awesome activities for the kids. And I was really impressed with Princess for this cruise. One of my main worries was whether or not there would be a lot of kids on this cruise, because Princess does not necessarily have ships that, have all the bells and whistles, especially for kids. But we found that there was actually a lot of families and a lot of kids on this cruise because it was during Christmas and during New Year's. So my boys made lots of really great friends, and they had a really great time doing all of the awesome activities that the cruise directors had planned. So one of the negatives that we found was the sea was actually really rough on the way out. And then once we got within a day or so of the islands, it started to calm down. But then again, on the way back from the islands, the same thing happened. The boat was moving a lot. The second night, my youngest son actually got sick. And there was quite a few people on the ship who got sick. But really after the second day, excuse me, everybody started to kind of get their sea legs, and everybody kind of adjusted to it. But it was pretty rocky most of the trip, which was not something I had experienced before on our last Alaskan cruise. So that was probably one of the downfalls for us, was just kind of wobbling back and forth as we're walking around on the ship. One of the main positives to cruising rather than flying is, of course, all of your food is included, which was pretty awesome. We ate at the breakfast buffet every single day, and there was lots of options, and that really kept us full to where we didn't eat as much during lunch. But it was really nice to just be able to go in every single morning and just have a choice without having to sit down and wait, which was really awesome. And my husband and I were signed up for the Premier package, which comes with Wi-Fi and your drinks and gratuities, which was also really awesome. The only negative was the boys did not have their daily gratuities. So at the end of the cruise, they had to pay for their room steward at the end of the cruise. So that was kind of an extra little added expense. But I did know that was coming, and so we did plan ahead for that. But overall, it was a great value for, 16 days to be entertained on the cruise, to have all the food and drinks that you want. I definitely think that part of it was worth it. Also, because we were on the ship for Christmas, everything was decorated. There were trees everywhere on pretty much outside of every floor, outside of every store. They also had Santa who visited the ship and gave toys to all the kids on Christmas morning. So overall, I thought it was really good to be on the cruise ship for Christmas. My boys really enjoyed it. So after being on the ship for 5 days, we finally made it to our first stop, which was in Kauai, and it far exceeded my expectations. Having only ever been to Oahu, really just pulling up and seeing the natural beauty of the islands and the crystal water and everything. It was just absolutely amazing. And we decided not to do an excursion for this one because we really wanted to just enjoy being at the beach. And so I had looked up some things on YouTube, and I looked up Puipu Beach, which was totally awesome. Me and my older son really wanted to snorkel. And so there's one side that's really perfect for snorkeling. It's shallow and there's lots of coral. And then there's the other side, which is more for swimming. And it was just a really, really beautiful day, really relaxing. There was a nice little park right by. There's a place where they sold some really cool hot dogs. And then there was all of these little chickens everywhere that my sons were just, you know, totally enthralled with because they had all these really colorful feathers. Kind of like Hey Hey from Moana, right? So Puipu Beach was just amazing. From the Uber driver who took us there and took us along little extra stops along the way. Just absolutely everything. So I think that was definitely my favorite spot from the trip. Our second stop was in Waikiki, and we actually had an excursion planned. We were supposed to go to the Polynesian Culture Center and also stay for the late evening luau that went with it, since we were staying for an overnight stay. But that one was actually booked up. And eventually we all got added onto the excursion, except my youngest son. So we had to cancel it 24 hours before we got there. So we were a little bummed, but it was fine. We pretty much just shopped and spent some time on Waikiki Beach each day. And also while we were on the ship, I was taking ukulele lessons with Tiki Dave. Tiki Dave, he's really awesome. And so I was learning to play the ukulele, and so I actually ended up buying my own ukulele, which I took back on the ship and practiced and did some lessons before we did our final luau together on the ship. It was pretty cool. I also got some Pandora charms, which you can only get in Hawaii. They're kind of like special ones. So I was able to get those in Waikiki Beach. And then, of course, we hung out, rented an umbrella, and just swam and hung out at Waikiki Beach. It's kind of my favorite thing to do. So that was a really enjoyable spot as well. It's just, you know, we have been there quite a few times, so I kind of knew what to expect with it, and it was great. And our last stop in Hawaii was in Hilo, and that was the other excursion that we had booked to go see Volcanoes National Park and walk through a old lava tube. And that was actually really awesome as well. Just driving through and seeing how tropical everything was, because it rained so much there. Everything is just green and beautiful. When we went walking down into the lava tube, we were pretty much walking through a literal rainforest. And so it was just absolutely gorgeous. It's not something that you see every day, just literally walking through an uninterrupted rainforest. So it was totally awesome. Got to go walk through an old lava tube and got to see down into a volcano area. It's not active right now, but they said a couple of months ago it was actually active. So it was really awesome to see, worth the trip. And our driver was really awesome. We stopped at a hotel on the way back that was really beautiful and had some nice things to look at. So overall, that trip was really awesome. And I definitely think that Hilo is a place to visit. So after our Hilo stop, we were at sea for a few days again, and we had an awesome New Year's party. We got to go hang out on the Lido deck, and there was music and dancing, and Jody, the cruise director, was really awesome and actually jumped in the pool at the end, and it was just a really awesome time. Highly suggest being on a cruise for the holidays. So then the next step we went to was Ensenada. So I wasn't really sure what to expect at Ensenada. We originally hadn't booked an excursion, but once our original one in Waikiki was canceled, we had some extra money and we were like, okay, yeah, why not do an excursion in Ensenada? So we went to go see the blowhole, which was very interesting. They take you down on a bus and pretty much just drop you off, and there is vendors like all up and down, all the way down till you get to the blowhole, and they're all kind of like, you know, come here, come check out this shop, you know, yelling things at you, trying to make jokes with you, and it was a little overwhelming, honestly. And then when we got to the blowhole, it was a little bit underwhelming, I thought. It's just a couple of rocks, you know, and the water comes up in between the crevices of the rocks, and that was pretty much it. The view was actually really nice, though. I had never been to Mexico, and it was a really nice, sunny, breezy day. So it was beautiful to see, but a lot of it was kind of blocked with all these vendors trying to get you to buy things. We did buy a few things from one of the shops because the bus driver had told us that she knew the people who owned that shop, and so they were nice and they weren't as pushy. I did have some amazing churros. She told us to go to the one with the purple aprons. I don't remember what name it was, but they were hot and fresh churros. They were really, really good. And then there's kind of a main taco shop at the very top of the hill that the bus driver also recommended. And so we had a couple really nice tacos there as well. So that was pretty much it. And we got back on the bus and kind of headed back. So it was an interesting stop for sure, but definitely a tropical area. So my overall review, was it worth it? I think everybody should definitely experience taking a cruise this long once in their life. Again, having my kids come, my oldest was just having a blast. At the end of it, he said it was the best experience of his entire life. So they really, really enjoyed it, and seeing them so happy really made it worth it to me. But it was a lot of sea days. On the way back, I was kind of just ready to go home. And it was pretty expensive once you really put in the extras that you spend for the excursions. The excursions in Hawaii are not cheap. So overall, it was pretty expensive. So we booked another cruise, but we actually booked it going to the Mexican Riviera. Woohoo! And this one is over New Year's, so it actually leaves after Christmas, because it was a little chaotic trying to like have all the family gatherings before we left on this cruise, because we left December 22nd. So it did feel just kind of really rushed the whole couple weeks leading into the cruise. And so I'm excited for this next one. We'll be out of school for a week, be able to kind of relax before we have to get ready and get on this other cruise. So the next one is 7 days, but it's going to be on the Discovery Princess, which is one of their newer ships. So we're all really excited about that. And this next one, we booked a balcony. I know, super fancy. We've never done a balcony before, but it was actually only a couple $100 more at the time to book a balcony because the prices had kind of gone up. So that is what we're doing next. So obviously we are princess fans. I had wondered if, maybe we should do Carnival or Royal Caribbean with the boys, but my oldest actually really likes the more relaxing vibe. He likes to just kind of walk around the ship and take in the scenery. He really loved the promenade. He's always kind of had an interest in ships. And so I just like that it's a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more kicked back. If we want to do things, there's things available. But if we just want to have a relaxing time, we can also do that as well. So definitely sticking with Princess for now. Their food is great. The entertainment is great. And again, if you go during the holidays, there will be plenty of kids on board for your children to enjoy hanging out with. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to see some future videos about cruising, about Princess, about, Mexican Riviera, please hit the like and subscribe button. I will do another video as we start preparing for our next cruise, talking about some of the excursions, some of the options, and of course I will do a review for it afterwards as well. So thanks for tuning in. This is Heather at Seas a Day Cruising, and I'll talk to you guys soon.